from New York City, and I'm currently in Habana, Cuba. Whew. This place is so beautiful. I just wanted to jump on here because usually I do like just regular hotel tours and stuff like that, but I kind of feel like I had to do a rundown of how Cuba works. It's better to explain things a little bit more because it is different from other countries that I have visited. As far as the currency can get a little confusing, and the CUP or the Cuban peso does fluctuate literally every day. So we all just stuck with the USD because it was a little bit easier. You can ask your Airbnb host for CUP. It's probably the best that way. I know there have been some people that said, oh, you can just go outside and ask somebody to get, some CUP in the streets, and I don't recommend that. So if you can, just ask your Airbnb host and ask them what the rate is for the day, and then they'll exchange your USD for CUP. I bought $500 for the week. That was good enough for me. If you need to bring more, feel free to do so. Some people spend more, some people spend less. I feel like a lot of that did go to food, and that was including excursions as well. But do set aside money for your excursions, specifically if you don't plan on booking your excursions before you get here. Just be mindful of how much money you will be spending while you're out here, because if you're not paying attention, the money can go fast. If you're not buying alcohol and you're not eating that much, you'll be fine. Definitely bring a lot of change if you can from America. If you're bringing USD, do not just bring like 20s, because there are going to be moments where you just want to split your money anyway. I bought like 100 singles, I think like 45s, and then split the rest with the 20s. Make sure there are no rips or tears in your US currency. Please, please, please make sure that there are no rips or tears. They will not accept rips or tears if you go to a restaurant or anything, for example, because the Cuban government will not accept that. So please make sure before you leave the US and you actually leave your bank to get the money, to make sure there's no rips or tears, because they will not accept it, unfortunately. I know. Cuba is relatively very cheap. I thought it was pretty cheap, especially when you went to other places like Paradero and Vinales. Oh my gosh, like food was like 250 pesos. Drinks were like the same price, 250 pesos, 300 pesos. That's nothing. That's like $2, honestly, in USD. I think it's definitely a country you should try to come visit. They need the money, honestly. Like I said, some people will hustle you, but that's anywhere. But if you feel in your heart you want to give more, by all means, give more. There are moments where kids will come up to you and say like, please, 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 like give me money, and in their language, and it's, like I said, it's a hustle. It's very unfortunate. You would want to give everybody money, of course, but there are no ATMs. Like, there's no way of using American credit cards here. So whatever money you have here, just be mindful of how much you're giving away. But if you feel like you want to give some change, to anybody out in the streets, if you feel bad, if your soul is telling you like, hey, this person needs money, by all means, do it, especially if you have a lot of money just on you. I don't recommend walking around with too much cash on you. Definitely keep it in the safe. Be mindful, just like any place. Just store it in your bag. Don't count money outside in the street in front of everybody. Like I said, I personally didn't feel unsafe. So definitely just, be mindful of your surroundings. So when you are here in Cuba, there are not a lot of convenience stores. I actually don't even think there are any convenience stores we can just go into and purchase snacks and water and things of that nature. Our Airbnb did provide us with waters, but it is 250 CUP, which is probably like I don't know, like $1 per bottle. They were like the size. So it was really nice of them to provide that for us, but we just pay for it at the end. Definitely bring snacks if you can. Me and the girls, we bought like chips and candy and chocolate because we like to indulge. But that's really important because you will not be able to get snacks while you're out here just on a spur. So definitely bring your own snacks from America. I will say, as far as the car rides, when it comes to the fumes, guys, bring a mask. I can't express that enough. For me, I'm very sensitive to certain smells, and the fumes, it gets pretty intense. Obviously, because these are older cars, so the gas here, the fumes, it gets a little crazy. So definitely bring a mask if you can and just wear it in the car. Sometimes the taxi drivers, they have their windows up and the AC on, but there are some taxi drivers that don't have AC, unfortunately. So I think those are the moments where you do have to bring a mask because the AC does help, filtrate the air in the car. Liquor here in some places is very expensive. I remember one night we went to a random bar and the drinks were, for 6 shots, it was $90. So yeah, it was best that we had bought a bottle from our host, which he provided us for it. It was $15 per bottle for a Cuban rum, which is not bad at all, and we just, split the cost. Definitely bring sneakers, sandals, bring sunscreen. I actually have sunburn on my back and it hurts sometimes, and my skin is currently peeling. So definitely bring sunscreen, especially if you're going to the beach, because the sun rays are serious. It's real out here. Definitely bring bug spray. Obviously the weather here is beautiful. I can't complain. There was no humidity or anything like that. At night, it would be maybe like 70 degrees, 72 degrees. During the day, it would be 85 degrees. Nice cool breeze, but the mosquitoes are gonna get you. Okay, they got us, and they loved our legs. So definitely bring bug spray or peppermint oil. I saw online that was a great way to keep the bugs away too. So just bring a little bit of peppermint oil, just put it on your clothes or a little bit on your body. All you need is like 3 drops and the mosquitoes will stay far away. We didn't really need to wear any like light jackets or anything like that. Something as simple as this with probably long pants at night. But for a person like me, I do usually get a little chilly. So yeah, if you get cold, just, bring some, light and airy pants. There are some places that we would go to and there were no tissue, okay? So definitely bring wipes if you can. It's very important, especially if you're a female. Definitely bring hand sanitizer. That was another thing, because they do not have a lot of soap. A lot of the places, they have like bar soap that you can wash your hands with, but if you can just bring your own like soap, even like disinfectant soap or hand sanitizer, that would be very helpful for you. We also bought donations to give to the Cuban people, because obviously we are in support of the Cuban people. So we are going to be giving those out later, and those consisted of things that they really do need, because there is kind of like a shortage of these items and it's hard to get access to. So we got things like toothpaste, toothbrushes, wipes, lotion, shampoo, tissue, masks, you name it. We just gave them like little goodie bags, and I'll probably insert a photo of that too, or a video. But yeah, we're excited to do that. Please bring things that you can to donate to them, because it'll be so helpful. As far as Baradero, book a taxi through our Airbnb host. He said it was $200 round trip for us to go to the beach. That was like a 2-hour ride from Habana. So me and the ladies just split the cost to go there. Definitely bring water, snacks, things of that nature if you get hungry, because we did not stop in between. Varadero, it's so beautiful. One of the best beaches in the world, we were told. And man, just so amazing. And the food was super cheap. The alcohol was super cheap. For example, me and my friend, we got like lobster, rice, and vegetables, and there was like lamb, chicken, and pork, I believe, with rice and vegetables. And in total, we paid only 25 USD, and that was including tip. So that was it's a pretty good price. So I felt like Varadero was actually a little bit less expensive. We also went to Santa Maria Beach, and that was like, I'll say 25 minutes away from Habana. It's a beautiful beach. There was just a lot of access to food and drinks, and they would give you like the umbrellas and the beach chairs for like, it was like so cheap. It was like probably $2.50 per person for the beach chairs and the umbrellas in USD. So definitely recommend going there as well. And then we went to Viñales. Our guide and our driver, his name was Gonzalo, and he was super sweet. He did speak good English, and he was very helpful with any questions we had in regards to the Cuban culture. The trip to Viñales included food, transportation, cigar tour, horseback riding. We did an indoor cave, and a boat ride in the indoor cave, and then we drove to a mural. I will link all of those like details below so it's easier for you guys to see for the Airbnb, but it was just amazing. For $75, I'll take that. But that was the only excursion that we did through the Airbnb app. Definitely get the cigars. I didn't think I was gonna like the cigars. I thought they were gonna be very harsh in my throat. Loved it. If you go to Viñales, what you need to do, okay, baby, go get the Cuban cigars. I'm actually gonna give some to some friends and family, and yeah, just try it. Because when in Cuba, you might as well smoke their cigars. You know what I mean? It's best to not buy their cigars outside in the street just randomly. I would definitely buy the cigars in Viñales in the cigar tour. They will show you how to smoke it properly, and they will tell you how to pair it well, what you can pair it with when smoking a cigar. They did say like alcohol, you can drink it with like scotch or rum. The other method was to put some honey where you would inhale. You could actually lick the honey too. That was the best way to smoke the cigar by far. I love cigars. Oh my gosh, I never thought I would. I'm not a heavy smoker at all. I don't smoke at all, actually. If you don't want to try it, that's totally fine, but when in Cuba, why not? As far as the car tour, that was $35 per hour. And me and the ladies, we just split it. I think we were out there for 4 hours, and they drove us to a cool like art site. I have to link the name below as well for that. We were there and we got a lot of souvenirs, and that was a cool experience. And we got to ride around in like a nice pink car with the roof open, and it was just such a beautiful day. We went to the art factory, which is like a very big club slash art museum in one, which is pretty cool. It's like a huge maze. That was pretty interesting, just seeing different artwork, and it turns into like a club, and there's like different rooms for like the club, and different rooms for the artwork. So if you're into nightlife, definitely check that out. But it was super fun. They close at 2 a.m. Okay, so let me tell you a little story. There may be some people at the art factory outside even before you enter, because the line was super long when we got there. They're gonna ask you for 20 USD to cut the line. don't do it to yourself. Just wait in the line to get in, because once we got in, we only had to pay 250 pesos. Why are they asking $20 per person? Because they're trying to hustle. I get it, you need the money. But guys, be aware, please be aware that you might be hustled. So just follow your instincts with that. For the most part, we had such an amazing time. We danced. They give you a card once you enter the art factory. Once you pay your 250 pesos, that card is used for you to buy drinks or whatever you need to buy in that location. And once you want to leave, they look at that card so you can pay whatever you bought in that location, and you just leave. Because it's not a situation where you go to a bar and you just pay. You have to have that card that they give you, and you have to have that card in order to leave or exit the art factory. So definitely do not lose that card. I think it was so funny because there was a moment where we thought the Jabberwockies were there, but it wasn't the real Jabberwockies from the US. That was pretty funny. But we still took pictures with them regardless, and they were dancing in the street and inside of the art factory. There was like a big stage. There was like multiple rooms. It was like a maze in there. Section, if you want to smoke cigarettes, I believe they had like food and stuff. We didn't try the food because we ate at a restaurant next door to it prior to going in to the art factory. It's pretty cool. You get to see a lot of different people. You're really immersed in the Cuban culture. A lot of people speak Spanish there. If you want to get the Cuban, experience, that is the place for nightlife. The environment of this Airbnb, I will say the area that we're staying in is in downtown Habana, and it's definitely different from central Cuba, but you know what? I feel like we're really in the nitty-gritty of things. Very local area. You can get around, you walk around, we go to different restaurants. There will be moments where people will tell you to follow them to like certain restaurants. That actually happened to us. But after a while, we felt a little uncomfortable, so we decided to just leave and go to another location on our own. Like I said, just really follow your gut. If you don't feel comfortable with certain people helping you, just say no gracias and just, walk away. I'm not gonna lie, when we were in certain restaurants, we got the stare down. Like, it got to a point where it got kind of uncomfortable and I saw like a group just staring at us because I know, they know we're not Cuban. So some people just stare a little bit too much. So don't get too uncomfortable. Just say hello, say hola. They probably will stare at you still, but it's probably because you look like a tourist or you just look really different. But don't get upset or anything. Just, just be like, okay, like say hi. There is a lot of catcalling from men. It didn't really make me feel uncomfortable because I am from New York City, so I'm used to that. But if you don't like that, just be aware that you will get catcalled on, especially if you don't look like you're Cuban. If you're American, you'll see what I mean. But no one's gonna literally go up and touch you or anything. They'll do like kissy faces and they'll be like, Americano, Americano, and yeah, just don't go into anybody's house. I remember one guy was like, oh, you wanna come into my house? And we're like, no, thank you. We'll stay outside. But if you need help, people are very helpful. If you have any questions in the street, somebody will ask, or somebody will answer you with no problem if you do speak Spanish. Just looking into other people's homes, like when you're walking down the street and you notice a lot of the time, like everybody has their like windows open or their doors open. It's very community based. It's very different from, being in the city, in New York City, in my opinion. Everybody's just to themselves. So it was really cool to see that everybody was just like hanging outside and speaking to each other and like, acting like one big family. We even noticed that there were some homes that would sell like, you know, alcohol and beverages, and in the back there would be like actual homes, like you would see people eating. So those are the moments where you can't really go in and buy, you know, items from the locals. So that's why I said earlier, just to make sure, if you can, to ask your Airbnb host where you would be able to get alcohol, because alcohol does get a little pricey in some areas, but it's pretty cheap for the most part. As far as the food portions were pretty small. I will say a lot of the places that we did go to, the food was very lukewarm. It wasn't hot. So if you're looking for hot food, like super hot food, like burn your mouth type food, probably won't find it much. I'll be honest, that was like a huge issue here specifically. I thought the food was okay. I'll be honest, I've been to other countries and the food has been so flavorful, but they're not really big on spices, I feel, which is totally fine. The Cuban dialect is definitely different from any other Spanish culture, of course. We use the Google Translate app a lot. Me and another girl, we spoke a little bit of Spanish, which helped. They speak really fast, so there were moments where I was like, ¿qué? ¿Qué? I didn't really understand. I'm actually better at seeing the writing of Spanish versus hearing it, because that's how I learned more so. But be aware, they speak really fast. So if you're like me and you're better at reading, tell them to just write on your phone what they're trying to say, and it'll be a lifesaver. Definitely get a SIM card if you want. The internet is not really that reliable here, but if you cannot live without internet, just get a SIM card before you even get here. I don't have much details on that because obviously I didn't buy that, but definitely do your research on that. I know there are other YouTube channels that do describe more about the SIM card. But I will say it's a really nice time to disconnect from reality. When you're in America, you're so stuck on being on your phone, you're not really in the present moment. So this is a perfect place to just disconnect. I didn't mind having that much internet because I really just wanted to disconnect from the American world. I really wanted to just stay in the present moment here and just really immerse myself in this culture. Obviously the Cuban people, they do have phones, but they're not really on their phones all the time. They're really focused on being present. It seems like a lot of people are actually really happy. They don't seem stressed. A lot of things were a walking distance, which, like I said, definitely use maps.me and download the Cuban map before you get to Cuba. I cannot express that enough. I was able to download the maps.me when I was at the airport in Miami, and some of my friends, the map did not completely load. While they were in the airport, it did load for me, so I was kind of like the navigation for all of us to get around into the city. It really does help. Sometimes there are moments where the taxi driver didn't even know where our exact location was, which I thought was interesting, but it is pretty confusing. So the map does help in that sense to navigate. Since it is offline, it's a saving grace for me, or for us, I should say. Yeah, I just wanted to share that with you because I know it's not something that, you know, a lot of people get to experience going to Cuba, but it is super easy to get in. We paid $112 for our visa. There was like a website that they would give. I'll link that down below as well. It was $112 because that was including the shipping fee. They do, I know it sucks, they do have a shipping fee included to the $80. You don't need to get the Cuban visa expedited unless it's like days prior to your trip, which I don't recommend. Just buy it at least 2 weeks in advance. I got my Cuban visa in literally 2 days and I didn't even get it expedited. My airline ticket was $378 total, which wasn't too bad. I got my flight a month prior to me coming to Cuba. Overall, I had such an amazing experience in Cuba. I'm sad to be leaving, but you know, duty calls. See, there's music playing outside. It's just a good time. I had an amazing time with the girls. We did a lot of laughing and dancing and, you know, playing games when we're even in the restaurant, we're just playing heads up, or we played heads up while we were here when you had downtime. And it was such a good time. The people are so cool. No one's really that disrespectful, honestly. And yeah, I would definitely come back. I personally would go back to Varadero to stay if I ever come back to Cuba. I don't know. I just want to try something different. I just want to see a different city. So that's my opinion. And definitely come to Habana. It's a beautiful place and you won't regret it. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you for, you know, hearing my review on my experience. If you have any questions, please let me know. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, hope to see you soon on another trip elsewhere. All right, bye.